This is the Goode Show. Welcome to this week's episode. My name's Surinder. I am your host, and this is the Goode Show. This episode today is completely raw. I have not heard the full story, and you guys are going to hear the full story with me today. What I can tell you is this. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I want to bring into the show Jessie Perry and her husband, Justin. Welcome to the Goode Show.
Thank you.
Okay. Listen, Jessie, did we meet? Because you're a follower of the show.
I'm just a follower because of the good work that you do for veterans.
Oh, thank you. And the fact
we have never met in person before.
Okay, but now that we know what you do, like business-wise as well, I think we definitely need to make a trip out there.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to stay on point. So we've got Jessie and Justin. And Jessie had got in touch with me a little while ago and said, hey, we got this crazy letter from the VA. It's not the first time that I've heard that. And I was like, okay. I said, so what's the story? And what you said to me was, well, they told me that my husband is deceased. And he was sitting there reading the letter this morning. So basically the VA think, Justin, that you're not here anymore.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, before we get on to the story, I just want to get a little bit of backstory. You were active duty. Were you both active duty?
Just him.
Just myself. Yep.
Okay. And how long
active
were you?
Air Force.
Air Force. Okay. My nephew just joined the Air Force, by the way. So, okay. How long did you serve?
Almost 12 years. So
12 years.
11 years and months and days.
So Jessie, you're a seasoned spouse, you know.
Well, sort of, yes. Yes.
So how long have you been retired, Justin?
So I was medically separated August 9th of 2009.
Okay, of 2009. Okay, so that was quite. And you obviously went through the VA process. You got your disability. You got your benefits. Were there any issues there?
I've been back and forth with the VA numerous times. The only thing that I have a rating for is my back, which is the reason for the medical separation. So they gave me. I have a spinal fusion. So I had a herniated disc that kind of progressed and did things that it shouldn't have done. And surprise, the 800 milligram Motrins, the back and forth of probably six years of the painkillers and muscle relaxers didn't do anything, and that disc had finally ruptured, and it went into my spinal column instead of out. So I had to have a surgery. After the surgery, I had an L4, L5 spinal fusion, which was great because it was done by a civilian doctor. It was downtown. I was serving in near Atlanta, Georgia at the time, working with Lockheed Martin. They didn't have any surgeons on it around Dobbins Air Base, so they sent me downtown, Georgia Spinal Institute. It was great. It was actually a retired Air Force surgeon that was working there, so we had talked about that. He had told me, like, after the surgery, he had said, you'll return to probably 90% normal life activities after this. You may have, permanent numbness in areas and stuff like that. And I was like, well, it's better than a wheelchair. So let's just make it happen.
Yeah.
It was mostly a success. But ever since I've been dealing with it, it's been a constant.
You're gonna have to repeat that because it just faded out a little.
So since I've gotten out, I've had a lot of issues with my back. So like constant pain, not debilitating all the time, but it goes through flare-ups.
Yeah.
If I sneeze wrong, or cough at the wrong moment, or reach for something just maybe not quite right, my back almost feels like it shifts,
Oh,
like
wow.
down low. And
Okay.
then I'm like, oh, and then with a couple hours, it's hard to walk, it's hard to stand, like
You're in
it
pain.
gets bad. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been to like civilian doctors over the years. I've been to the VA in multiple different places,
All
with the
about the
same.
same issue.
Exactly.
Okay.
But because I don't have all of this like hard evidence of everything, I guess, like I didn't realize that I was supposed to like keep records of every place I've been, because it's been through multiple states as well, because I traveled for work.
Uh-huh.
Um, I can't remember every place I had ever been. To get my disability kind of upgraded to help me out any, uh, they basically told me that it's not going to happen. There's just no way anymore. They made me sign a letter during one of the last investigations they did. They said that this was the last investigation that they were going to do, that by signing this letter, I had to deal with whatever outcome they came up with. And they were, basically they were putting a line in the sand saying that they were done looking into the matter. So like they took into account nothing else. Like in my medical records from the military, like I've got a knee issue. I had a knee surgery while I was in. I get pain from that all the time. I've had a facial reconstruction from an incident that happened while I was on duty. So I've got permanent numbness and stuff in my face. I don't know if you can tell, like the side of my face droops down a little bit. It was, it was a pretty gruesome incident. But they don't want to consider any of that stuff. Just the back, and it's only at 20%.
Okay,
So,
hold
and
on a
that
minute.
only came until just recently. So it
Okay.
was only 19 for a long time. And then all of a sudden, when my benefits started to kick in, they said, oh, you're at 20 now.
Okay, so clarify this for me. Are you
Mhm.
saying to me that you had a procedure uh, because of your back while you were active duty, but there were side effects to the procedure, and you knew what those were? They were listed, but there have been some additional issues because of the procedure, and you've been going back to them, and they haven't done anything about it, basically. And the only percentage rating you've got is 20%.
Correct. So I stopped actually going to the VA for a long time.
Okay.
Mainly for the fact that every time I'd go in for my back, like I'd have a flare with my back. And this was when I was going to the VA up in New York State. Um, the one doctor looked at me and goes, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing that we can give you to help this. Why do you even come in?
Yeah. So
And I
then
was
they
like,
just
fine, I'll go civilian. Like,
And
it was just odd.
when you go to a civilian doctor, do you pay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So now you have, obviously, you said you got out 2009?
Yes.
Okay. So we're 2026 right now. Okay. And this issue is still ongoing. At what point, and you getting your benefits, whatever benefits, no benefits either?
So I got a severance package that incorporated that disability rating.
Okay.
Um, so I just recently, just this year, started actually getting money, because they gave me like a lump sum when I got out for like a
Okay.
severance package. And my benefits just literally kicked in what, March?
March.
I think it was March.
$326 or something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I don't depend on it to live, but like the purpose of this, that's not the point. It's the fact
Yeah.
that, if this is happening to me, and I like to think of myself as a pretty well abled, veteran.
It's happening
Some
to
of our friends
others.
that
Yeah.
luck, you know what I mean? Like some of my brothers in arms, like they depend on the VA to
Take care of them.
be there for them.
Yeah.
They've sacrificed, they've put their time in. Like, I don't care if it was 2 years or 6 months, 20 years, they're depending on them to be there for them. And it's like pulling teeth to try and get what is owed to you.
Okay, so in March, you started to get your benefits. We are one check. Okay, that was for the 300 and something, right? You had that in March. You haven't had anything April, May, June, July. We are now sitting August. Okay. So at what point did the VA decide that you were deceased? I mean, they just started giving you benefits in March.
After we
May. Yeah, so I had called. Something happened somewhere, like when the check started coming out, like it must have freaked the system out. And I remember like years ago going through and saying like, hey, I want this electronically transferred or electronically deposited when it starts. We went to the mailbox one day and this was like,
there was a check there.
May, and there was a check, and I even had to take a picture of it and
make sure it was real.
Make sure it was real. It didn't say what it was for. It was just a government check in it, and it was for my disability rating. And I was like, oh, okay. So I called the VA. And I said, how do we move forward and make this, just electronically transferable into my account? And they're like, oh, well, you can do it online. I said, well, why don't we do it on the phone? We're right here. They're like, oh, okay, well, let's take care of that. And we did the whole spiel. I was on the phone with them for like 20 minutes, basically just giving them all my routing information and everything.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, thank you, Sergeant Perry. Everything moving forward should just be electronically transferred. The very next month, I got a letter in the mail that, long story short, it said it wasn't addressed to anyone, just from the VA. I'm guessing it was to her, with the VA apologizing for the loss of the veteran,
sending their condolences or whatever it said,
and that the veterans' benefits will be hereby stopped.
Okay, so like, Jesse, your name wasn't even on the envelope. It wasn't addressed to anybody, and the check was made payable to you, Justin.
Correct.
Okay, see that now. Okay, so you know why I'm laughing. I know why you're laughing. Yes, I mean that's crazy. Okay, so wow. So okay. So once you got the letter, what did you do once you got the letter?
Well, after I got done laughing, I called them. I called the VA, there was a number to call about like the benefits and everything else on the page. So I called them. I said, yes. I said, and you have to do the whole typical VA sign in with like your, serial number, name and address and birthday and everything else. And they're like, is this the better? And I said, well, yes, it is. And there was a pause. And I said, I just wanted to know, like, if I died and you know how I died, if you could explain to me how I died, because I just got a letter from you saying that I'm dead and that you're stopping my benefits. I said, this was wrong. Something happened. No explanation. They're like, oh, well, it looks like there was a wrong button hit at some point. I said, a wrong button hit generates a letter sent out to my widowed wife now? I was like, that's not like, no, like I'm still alive. Like this needs to be fixed. Oh, we assure you that this is going to be taken care of, that we have to go through this process. And, I had to answer some questions at the time and whatnot. And she was like, don't worry, your benefits will soon kick back in. Well, fast forward to what this was just a
This
couple
was
weeks
just a
ago.
couple weeks ago.
I called him back because I still haven't received anything. Haven't heard anything from him. And in the meantime, I've had my yearly checkup with the VA through the VA system, through the My Healthy Vet system. Appointments scheduled and kept, and all of the appointment reminders and everything. Everything's good to go there. So I called
That's
back.
bizarre.
Right. I called back and I talked to, I don't remember his name now. I think I wrote his name down somewhere, but told him the same story. I said, what's going on? It's literally been about 3 months since I called you. I'm not dead. I was like, can you look in your system, see what's happening? He's like, no, the system still shows you as being deceased. He said, but there's a note in here that there's a pending investigation to make sure that the claim that you're alive is not fraudulent. I said, what do you mean, like, there's a pending investigation? And he's like, and I said, look, I'm going to be frank with you. I'm getting angry. I was like, I don't depend on this money to survive. I said, but it's not the point. You owe me this money. Like, I've earned this benefit check. And he says, well, ever since COVID and our budget cuts, we've been understaffed, and these types of investigations take time. So in the meantime, don't worry. All of your back pay will be coming to you, but we have to make sure that we do the investigation and that we find out that you're alive.
Like, you're talking to him, literally, on the phone.
Now, okay, in their defense, I will say this. On the phone, I guess it might be... Well, but they asked you questions that... yes, right. So, okay.
Security questions and all that, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess... Okay. That's... So now, how long has it been since you've been, saying to them, how long have you been trying to prove that you're alive?
What, end of May? May.
No, beginning of May.
Yeah,
beginning of May. I've been trying to prove to them that I'm alive, and I don't know if I'm waiting for someone to look at the file and click a button, someone that has authorization. But their excuse is that COVID put them so far behind, and that recent budget cuts have cut their personnel down, and they just don't have time for these types of investigations.
Well, I mean, if there's anybody from the VA listening, I mean, it would be great if you could reach out to us and just give us your perspective, because totally understand. I will say this is the craziest story I've heard about the VA. It really is. When you told me first, Jesse, I was like, no, there must be, obviously there is a mistake, but this is bizarre. So now you have no benefits because they've stopped the benefits.
Correct.
Just the payment side, though.
Just money.
I can still go to the VA and receive my medical care.
Yeah.
That part hasn't stopped. I'm still alive in that system. It's just where they have to give me money. That's the system that they decided, you know what? He's definitely dead.
I don't even know what to say. I've never heard anything like this. It obviously makes no sense. What are you moving forward? What do you guys plan? What is the plan to push it through, or who do you go to see? How do you take it up the chain of command?
They give me no guidance to do anything. When I got off the phone with the gentleman that I was talking to this last time, that told me that that COVID-19 is what's they're blaming for everything being so far behind and whatnot. I said, so what do I do now? He said, you just wait. I said, so in another 3 months, I'm going to call back and talk to you. and talk to you about the fact that I am actually alive and I'm not dead like your system keeps showing you? And he was like, yeah, more than likely.
I'm gonna get Pete Hegseth on the phone or something.
You would
now,
think that it
Pete,
would be
if
a
you're
pretty
watching,
easy investigation.
Secretary of War, please help.
yeah, this is. And have you spoken to anybody else at the VA? Do they keep putting you through to the same person? Have you asked to speak to other people?
It's all the same worthless hotline go through, like,
And you get who you get.
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
like, I actually asked to talk to his supervisor, and he said that not that there wasn't a supervisor there, but the supervisor wasn't exactly available. I said, well, who's above you that can take care of this? He said, no one, because the investigation needs to happen first.
But what investigation? Nobody's calling him. Nobody's coming and knocking on our door saying, hey, is Justin Perry there?
Well, I remember earlier on in the conversation, you said that they didn't have enough people, so they've got a big backlog. But then to your point, nobody's asking any questions. Are they not asking any questions because of the backlog? Have they not got to your case yet? And again, the mere fact that you physically go, has nobody read in your record when they open it up? Does it say something?
No. I even asked when I went. I even asked, like, my VA physician. I said, "Hey, my records indicate that I'm dead." And he kind of stopped and he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I kind of gave him a brief background of what was going on. And he, like, gives me a weird look and he turns around and looks in his computer and he goes, "Your records are still live." He was like, "If you were deceased in the system, there would be a red flag in your records."
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you,
Obviously, like you said, it's in the other system that, somebody's pressed a button somewhere, the money system.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now it's going to be a slog because if you're just at their mercy now.
Right. We're 5 months behind on receiving his money benefits.
Is
there a VA office nearby? Could you go to a VA office?
So
there's gotta be.
I haven't walked in. I just gotta say, like, I've just got such a bad taste in my mouth with the VA.
Yeah.
I'll say, when did I try to go to gunsmithing school?
Oh God,
like
that was
a year and a half, years ago.
No, that was just last summer, I think.
I had called to see if I was still eligible for, like, so I go back to the GI Bill.
Yeah.
They've got a new system out now. I don't even remember what it's called, but I go all the way back to, like, I was part of the GI Bill when that was a thing. I had called to see if my benefits were still there because I kind of remembered when I was getting out of the military, like, I've never used those.
Yeah.
But I do remember though, it was like, you can go to a trade school and they pay for a certain part of it through the GI Bill. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to see if those benefits are available because it would be nice, even if they don't pay for the whole thing, just give me a little something.
Yeah.
Well, the person I talked to when I asked about my benefits, they're like, ooh, you just missed the cutoff. I was like, what do you mean I just missed the cutoff? He goes, if you'd have called me 2 months ago, he said, we could have extended this. He said, but your cutoff was literally, like, it was 2 months prior to what I called. I said, are you kidding me? He was like, oh yeah, they expired.
Wow.
So, like, every time I try to do something with the VA, I get angry because something comes at me from the side, or there's a new hoop I've got to jump through, or, well, you technically qualify for this, but you're not qualifying for this.
You just haven't had
an explanation.
You just haven't had a good experience with the VA, and nobody is getting back to you. And it is sod's law that they press the button on the money side of it, Again, if anybody knows anybody from the VA while they're watching, they're listening to this. I mean, it would be good to hear their perspective. I mean, there must be somebody somewhere that knows,
I'm alive.
Or at
yeah.
least somebody somewhere that might be able to go in there and push that button.
That's right, Jess. That's right. Just push the right button, people. The right button. That's insane. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I am going to try and do some due diligence my end. Like I said, along with everybody else, this is the first time that I've heard this story today. And I know there are a couple of times that I laughed because it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. But I completely understand. But again, from, you guys that are actually living it, it's got to be nothing short of frustrating. And I understand why you don't want to go down there. It's kind of like, hey, this was not my era, people.
Right.
Now it's my time that I won't get back,
Yeah.
so I completely understand that. Again, I'm going to say it again. If there's anybody from the VA that's listening just now, please, we'd love to hear your perspective. DM me. We'll do a show. Come on the show, and then you can explain, and I do want to say this as well. This is, there's some good stuff that comes out the VA as well. I don't want the VA, thinking, we're out slam dunk, we're slamming them kind of deal. There's some good stuff that goes on there as well. But when it goes bad, it goes weird like this.
Exactly.
Exactly. and then there's no way anything can be positive about this until that error is rectified and everything's backdated. And in the meantime, I do want to get to this, Jesse, because that was awesome what you said earlier on. In the meantime, you guys are gearing up, getting your business together. You're taking, instructor courses. Tell us a little bit about the business, whose idea it was, where you're located.
It was all his idea. He has these cockamamie ideas all the time, and this one kind of stuck in my head. So we literally just bought a new piece of property up in Northeast Ohio. We're about an hour south of Cleveland. We bought a piece of property literally like 5 minutes from the house we're currently selling now that we just moved out of. But we're opening our own FFL, and we're going to have a very extensive women's section. A firearms store. We're gonna have a firearms store, and we're gonna have an extensive women's section in there because for us ladies who like to shoot firearms, it's very difficult to find gear that we like to be able to order it and try. You got to order it and try it on, and half the time it doesn't fit. Well, now you can come see me, and we'll get it to fit. And an outdoor range out back where we're gonna hold training courses.
Nice. Now, when does this open?
We're shooting for the store to be open the first of the year, with the training range coming afterwards.
I love that. And how has it been? Both of you working together. I know 2009 was, however many years ago, but still, that transitional phase. Justin, once you came out the Air Force, how did that work for you guys?
Oh, it worked. It worked well. We're in a good place. Yeah.
Okay.
All the kinks have been worked out, and we're in a really good place.
It was a rocky move to get here, but here we are. That's right.
Well, see, that's although people talk about the stats for military couples and the divorce rate and whatever, the separation rate, it is a very unique way of getting to know your partner when you're not really with them that often, kind of thing, until they do retire. And then you kind of, like when my guy retired, I'm like, okay, so this is the man I married, not the guy that was active duty. It's two different people.
Right.
And sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes I want to poke him in the eye.
Oh, I still poke him in the eye all the time.
Still recovering from that one.
Stop it.
VA won't even look at that one.
Oh, that's right. Listen to him. Listen, I have to say, I mean, my last question to you, both of you, is this. You're stuck where you're stuck, kind of like right now with where you are with the VA, right?
Correct.
do you have a plan moving forward? What is your intention? Just to, I mean, there's only so many choices that you have, but you're gonna
Right.
keep moving forward.
I'm going to keep making him call at least once a month.
Uh, uh,
And I will probably make him go to an office and actually walk in and see what's happening. He won't do it, but I'll try to make him.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's money that's owed to him
Well,
for
yes,
his service.
yes, and like you said earlier on, the other thing about it is maybe it's not just you guys as well. There might be,
Exactly.
other people out there that, you always hear those stories of there's so many benefits to be had, but you weren't aware of them all, or And again,
Yep.
as you guys transition out, you get a lot of information. There's so much information before you're exiting the military. It's hard to keep all of that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to keep us in the loop, Jesse and Justin.
I absolutely will.
Of what happens moving forward. Keep us up to date about the business as well.
Okay.
If you get a website going, please let us know.
And I'll send you an invite when we have our grand opening.
I love it. I love it. You know something, obviously I come from a country where only bad people have guns in Britain, when I lived there. So coming to the States and marrying the guy that I married, I was very vanilla when it came to guns. I didn't know anything about them and I thought, oh, clumsy old me, But I will say that once I got my training, there was no better feeling than shooting steel. It just gave me such it was such a turn on.
Uh-huh.
It really was. I felt like Annie Oakley.
I hear that a lot.
Annie Oakley, that's right.
Yeah. I was almost like, well, come on in, people. My husband's like, slow your roll, lady. But yeah, I mean, it is truly amazing. And I'm so glad that I got over my fear of them. Again, that was just growing up in a different country.
Right.
Well, even in this country, there's this, I guess I'll call it a stigma that, women can't shoot guns or own guns or shouldn't shoot guns or carry guns. And it's so irritating.
It's wrong.
To even some of the women that do carry these days, they were sold the wrong equipment because that's what some man told them that they needed to have because they're a female.
Right.
I want to make sure that when the female shooters come into our store that they don't feel that. Like, I may look rough and on the outside.
Yeah, you look rough, man.
I want to make sure that there's a comfort, and that's where Jessie comes in. She's got a decent following online, and they can come see her.
I'm going to make them feel welcome.
I'll tell you, I love your posts and I love what you're doing as well. And I'm gonna keep my eyes open for that interview invite. And you have to send one for Kim as well, because Kim has to go everywhere with me.
Absolutely, she can come too.
Listen, it has been really good talking with you both and listening to your story. Again, I can only imagine the frustration and the bullshit and just what a pain in the rear end it is for you. Again, anybody from the VA that's listening, anybody that knows anybody from the VA that can maybe help Jessie or Justin, I mean, that would be great as well. Anybody with a connection out there. So keep us posted. Let us know what goes on with it. Let us know about the business as well. We'd love to plug it out there. So, you get some people coming down and I will look for my invite. And I know you guys are going again to instructor school tomorrow as well. You do?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be thinking about you guys and we will talk again soon. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Serinda.
Appreciate it. Listen, you guys have been listening to The Goode Show. My name's Serinda. This is Justin. This is Jessie. And we are all out. Thanks for tuning in to The Goode Show. If you loved what you heard, follow me on Instagram at The Goode Show.